welcome back to my channel. My name is Tinashe and it's a pleasure for you to click onto my video so that you can watch my content. So today what we're going to do is we're going to do a cooking video. I normally like to make tortilla wraps for the week. The good thing with tortilla wraps is they can actually, you can store them for a while and they will not go bad and they will still maintain that softness. I normally used to buy these from Carrefour. And then I would find them a bit expensive because they'll go for maybe around 500 shillings for 500 shillings, and they'll only come in a pack of like 6 if they're the big ones, and then if they're the little ones, they'll come in a pack of 8. But now the taste of it, I didn't really like the taste, but I used to enjoy them. So I decided that I should actually just learn to make these and enjoy them from home. So today we are going to make some tortilla wraps, homemade tortilla wraps, and I guarantee you they are better than the ones that you get in the store. So what you're going to need is a bowl. You're also going to need 4 cups of flour. It can be any flour that you want to use. For me, what I normally like to do is to mix a strong flour and a weaker flour, because you find that when you're now rolling it out, if it's that flour that's not very strong, then it's going to give you a bit of problems when you start rolling it out. So I like mixing 1 cup of oat flour. You can use any strong flour you might have. You might have even bread flour. So you can use that, and then you can also mix now with 3 cups of the normal wheat flour. Then also what you're going to be needing is some cooking oil. For me, I'm using sunflower / corn oil that I'm going to be using. You're going to need a 1/4 cup of that. Then what you're going to need is also some water, some warm water to be specific. And normally for me, I use less than 1.5 cups. I just see how my mixture is looking. Then you're also going to need a bit of salt, and that's about that. The equipment that you're going to need, you definitely need a bowl like what I've said. You also need, for me, I use some measuring cups. I have these measuring cups, but you can use, the cups that you normally have in the house. Then you're also going to need a rolling pin, and also a board, preferably those ones that do not stick. Yeah. So yeah, let's get into this process and see. So I've just measured out my flour. This is 4 cups of flour, and then I've just put some aside because you need some for you to, when you're now rolling out the tortilla wraps, you'll need some flour so that the dough does not stick onto the rolling pin and onto the flour board. Then the next thing that we're going to use is we're going to use just a 1/4 cup of the oil that you're going to be using. You can use any oil you want. You can even use coconut oil. I find that it tastes really nice, but for me, I'm just using what I normally use to cook. Then the next thing that you'll need is just a pinch of salt. Then the next step is to make sure that you have your water with you. Try and put maybe 1.5 cups and let it cool if it's too hot. So this is how the mixture is looking right now. So what you're going to do is now to start rubbing in. Rubbing in is that process whereby you'll be incorporating some air into your mixture. Look at a tortilla wrap, you find that at times it develops some air bubbles inside. So now that comes from this rubbing in method that you're going to do with your flour. Then just as a heads up, for those people who do not like messy things, like you see I'm wearing some dark colors, this is obviously going to get flour on. So if you have an apron that you want to use, you can grab it and use it to make these wraps. So I'm just going to do the rubbing in process. Let me just show you how it goes. You do this and then you just make some notion like this. It's like you're pinching the flour, just like that, up until you mix everything together. Remember, you've put your oil, you've put your salt, and then there's the flour. So make sure that that oil is distributed nicely within the flour. So I think think I'm done with the process now. I'm going to take my water and pour it in. I'm not going to put it all at once because also I don't want a situation whereby I put in too much water. This is a very messy process. Can you see how it's looking like? Don't know if you can see, but it is very messy. Remember when I said it's messy? This is the evidence. This is now what the mixture will eventually look like. And what we're going to do is we're going to start kneading it, just kneading it for a little bit. So I'm going to bring out my rolling pin and also my my board. So I've put you a bit lower so that you can see what I'm doing. This is the board that I'm going to be using. Also, this is just also a rolling pin, very simple, wooden. Now this is what I'm going to be using, the flour that I'm going to be using to just make the board a bit more user friendly. So remember I mentioned that we're going to knead this a little bit, so I'm just going to put a bit of the flour. So from this mixer that we have, we can actually get 8 tortilla wraps. So I'm going to start cutting those. So you just cut proportionally, like that whole thing. This is 2. Making them a little more rounder so that I can cut them nicely. So now we have 8 pieces. These are the 8 pieces. So what we're going to do is make them into a nice round shape and then flatten that shape a little bit. So this is the nice round shape, and then now you just flat it out a little bit. Then you put it back into the bowl, into this bowl that we use. So I'm just going to put it back in there. So you do the rest to the 8 balls. So make sure that you cover this with a dish towel at least, so that they do not get dry or a hardened outside layer. What you're going to need now is also the pan, your preferred pan. I like to use a non-stick pan because it does not give me any problems. And then I'm just going to put it on the stove, but the lowest heat is the one that you should use. And the good thing is you'll not need to use any oil with this non-stick pan, because remember you'd already put your oil in your tortilla wrap, so you don't want it to be too oily. So as the pan is getting hot, you can now start rolling your first tortilla. So I normally put a bit more flour on the tortilla wrap so that it doesn't stick. And then I turn it around and try to make it as round as possible. I know making these things round may be a bit difficult, of which I'm very sure I will not make the perfect round shapes even myself. Just make sure that you're not adding too much flour. So this is my first wrap. This is my first wrap, and that's the one I'm putting onto the stove. Let me just show you. Let me bring it a bit closer so that you can see. So as this is cooking, I'm going to start working on the other one. As you are cooking that, as you are rolling out your tortilla wrap, make sure that you check on your other tortilla wrap. As you can see, it already actually has bubbles, if you can see. So now is the time for me to turn it over. it is looking. It's already looking semi-cooked. So make sure you have your plate aside that you're going to put in your tortilla wraps. I normally like covering this plate with my serviette. I put 2 of them so that it absorbs the heat, because when it's coming out of the pan it's actually hot, and then you don't want it to be sticky on the plate. So 1. So this is essentially how I layer them. And then I'll also need a dish towel, a very clean dish towel that I'll use to cover on top. So this is the dish towel that I'm going to be using. So what I do is I put the plate in between the dish towel. So you need a biggish dish towel. So sadly for me, I don't have much counter space, so I'm going to be putting it here. I'm just going to let it rest here, where my fruits are. This is done. The tortilla wrap is actually done. So I'm just going to put it away and cover it. Then I'll put the second one. As that one is cooking, I'm going to go to the next one. So one way to tell that your tortilla wrap is ready to be turned is when it starts producing those bubbles. It normally doesn't take too long. Like as you can see, I'm actually rolling as the tortilla wrap is cooking. I remember in the beginning, I actually used to use a timer, and I realized that there's no need to use a timer actually. Because as soon as I see it bubbling, then that's when I turn it around. You see? Bubbles. I hope you can see. I really hope you can see. Then I just turn it around. So you can see. Can we see? Yeah, this is better. You can see this is already now cooked. I'll put the third one. So as we can see, this one is now ready. So what we're going to make is to make a simple omelette. I already have some tomatoes, some onions, and green pepper chopped up. I'm going to put that in a bowl. Then I'll show you what next. So this is tomatoes, onions, and green pepper chopped up just a little bit. I'm adding to it 1 egg. I have a sausage, but I want to cut it into half. I don't want to eat the whole sausage, so I'm just going to cut it into half and then chop it up and then put it in that mixture. I also have an avocado. I'm not going to use all of it. I'm just going to use half. I'll add just a little bit of oil. This is the omelette mixture. Onions, tomatoes, half a sausage, green pepper. So that's what I'm going to put in the pan. I like to spread it around so that it can be really nice and it can be a lot. I like having this with a cup of tea, so I'm just going to boil some water. Look at the omelette. It's looking so yummy already. So yummy. This is lettuce, so I'm just going to take a leaf or two. This is all the lettuce I'll need, just a little bit. Then I'll just wash it. Our omelette is ready. Our tortillas are also still hot. So I just want to plate. I'm just going to take a simple plate. I've taken this tortilla. Ooh. So this is the tortilla. I'm just going to shred this a little bit and put it on the wrap. Then I'm taking the avocado. Taking the avocado and putting it there. I'm just going to use a fork. Then mash it up a little bit on top of the lettuce. So this is how it is looking like so far. I'll just add a bit of salt onto this for seasoning, just a little bit. So I've forgotten that I have cheese. I'm just going to cut a little bit and put it onto there. This is just a little bit. I'm just going to break it and add it onto the avocado and lettuce. Then I'm going to cut my omelette into half. Then add it to the tortilla wrap, just like this. Just like this. Then I'm going to close it up and cut it into half. Turn it around so that it still maintains the nice warmth from the egg. And I'm just going to put it in my tray. This is actually evening, so this is actually my supper. Something very light, not too heavy, and very healthy. You can see it's balanced. It has the vegetables, the carbohydrates, the protein as well. And I'm just going to wash it down with a cup of tea. So now I've made my meal. So you're probably wondering what I'm going to do with these tortilla wraps. I'm going to let them cool down a little bit because they're still a bit hot for me to store them in the fridge. I'll let them cool down a little bit, and then before I go to bed, I will put them in foil and then put them in the fridge. They'll last me for like the whole week, and they'll be nice and soft. Thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate you. I appreciate your time. I know for someone to watch a YouTube video from start to end, that's dedication with regards to their time. So thank you so much for sticking with me and just watching through the whole video. Let me know what other videos you'd like me to make. Let me know what other cooking things I should do that you might be interested in. If I know how to do them, I will do them. And even if I don't know how to do them, we will just do it together. So yeah guys, thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining me. Bye.